Many people living with diabetes make a real effort, take their medications, watch what they eat, and still their blood sugar remains high. Today I want to help you understand that there is a practical and natural way to start improving this situation through something you use every single day: your breakfast, and more specifically, your gut. I am Dr. Gabriel Mina, and over the years I have seen many patients in my practice who had no idea that the intestine plays a key role in blood sugar control. I clearly remember a patient in his early 60s who came in feeling frustrated because, despite following basic recommendations, his numbers were not improving. When we began working on his nutrition starting from the gut, the changes became noticeable in a gradual and lasting way. Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about integrative health, longevity, and natural, easy habits that help you maintain physical, mental, and emotional balance. Take note of this information and share it with your family and friends so you can help them improve their health as well. We upload new videos every day, so subscribe and activate the notification bell to make sure you don't miss any updates. Before we continue, if you find this content valuable, a simple gesture like supporting the video or sharing it helps this message reach more people who truly need it. Thank you from the heart for being here and for taking care of your health. Now, let's get into the topic. Maybe your endocrinologist, internist, or primary care doctor has never explained to you that it is possible to help lower blood sugar by working through the gut. And when people hear this, the first question is usually, "Doctor, what does the intestine have to do with blood sugar?" The answer is simple: it has a lot to do with it. When this approach is not considered, treatment often relies only on pills, because nutrition is not used as a true therapeutic tool. For almost a century, long before metformin, insulin, and other medications existed, doctors were already using certain whole grains rich in fermentable fiber to help reduce blood sugar. Even back then, this was considered an evidence-based practice according to the knowledge available at the time. Through these whole grains, it is possible to influence diabetes directly from the gut. It is not complicated or out of reach, and the best part is that you can do it at home. From these grains, we can also obtain something very important called resistant starch, which has clear benefits for blood sugar control. But to understand this properly, I first want to explain the parts of a whole grain and which one truly helps lower sugar levels. When we look at a whole grain, not a refined or processed one, we find several parts. The first is the bran, the outer layer you may recognize from wheat bran. This part is essential because it works through the gut by interacting with the microbiota, the beneficial bacteria that live inside us. Bran contains insoluble fiber, a type of fiber that is not absorbed, helps intestinal transit, and serves as food for those beneficial bacteria. Within this fiber, there is a very important compound called beta-glucan. In addition, bran provides B vitamins and minerals. All of this is lost when you consume white rice, white bread, or refined flours, and that is precisely where the real medicine is found. Another part of the grain is the endosperm, which is what we usually see as the fine flour. This part provides energy because it contains carbohydrates and also proteins. Grains do contain protein in an amount and quality that is often underestimated. The third part is the germ, which provides unsaturated fats, more B vitamins, vitamin E, and antioxidant compounds that help protect cells. When you eat refined products, the only part you are consuming is the endosperm, leaving out the bran and the germ. Without beta-glucans, without antioxidants, and without protection, that food ends up harming your metabolism. That is why avoiding ultra-processed foods is so important. The goal is for food to reach your mouth as close as possible to how it comes from the plant. Whole fruit, not juice. Whole grains, not refined ones. That is the path forward. Now, one of the most studied grains for its beta-glucan content is whole oats. When oats are hydrated, you may notice they become slightly viscous, almost forming thin strands. That texture is not a coincidence. It is soluble fiber acting in your gut. This fiber feeds beneficial bacteria and triggers processes that help lower blood sugar. I know that on social media it is often repeated that carbohydrates always raise blood sugar. The problem is not whole grains. The problem is a metabolism overloaded with fat in the liver and muscles. When that happens, even healthy foods can cause spikes. But that does not mean the food is the enemy. It means the body needs to be re-educated gradually. There are studies published in scientific journals such as Nutrition and Metabolism that show how oats can positively modify the gut microbiota. In the intestine live trillions of bacteria that influence not only blood sugar, but also the immune system and inflammation throughout the body. By properly feeding these bacteria, beneficial substances called short-chain fatty acids are produced, which help reduce inflammation and improve blood sugar control. Whole grains also slow down stomach emptying while creating a longer-lasting feeling of fullness. This helps prevent constant snacking, protects the pancreas, supports weight loss, and contributes to lowering both cholesterol and blood sugar at the same time. This is not magic, it is physiology applied intelligently. Before moving on, if this content is helping you better understand your diabetes and how to care for yourself through nutrition, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who needs it, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss upcoming content. We publish new videos every day, created specifically to support you and help you in a practical way. We keep moving forward step by step, because understanding your body is the first step toward taking better care of it. Many people with diabetes experience constant fatigue, blood sugar that is hard to control, and frustration because even with medication, they do not feel the well-being they expect. Today we continue to see how a practical breakfast strategy, working on the gut with the right foods such as whole oats, can help improve those numbers and, most importantly, how you feel each day. As a physician, I am Dr. Gabriel Mina, and I want to explain something important to you in simple terms. There are very solid scientific reviews that analyzed people with diabetes who incorporated viscous fiber into their diet. These studies evaluated dozens of comparisons and observed a significant reduction in glycated hemoglobin, which is one of the most important markers of blood sugar control. Glycated hemoglobin reflects how much glucose sticks to red blood cells. When blood sugar is high, glucose attaches to hemoglobin and those red blood cells stop working properly. They do not carry oxygen as they should, which is why many people feel tired by mid-morning, low on energy, sleepy, or with a constant sense of fatigue that does not go away. It is as if the red blood cells were covered in candy and could not do their job. What is interesting is that with a daily amount close to 1 tablespoon of whole oats, about 13 grams, a reduction of nearly half a point in glycated hemoglobin has been observed, along with a clear improvement in insulin resistance. Put simply, that small daily amount helps glucose detach from red blood cells and allows insulin to work more effectively again. I clearly remember the case of a 65-year-old patient who saw these numbers as something impossible to change. We started with simple breakfast adjustments, incorporating oats in the right way, and within a few weeks not only did her lab results improve, but she told me, "Doctor, I no longer feel exhausted all day." For me, that is just as important as the lab values. This leads to a question many people ask: why do we almost always start directly with pills instead of trying these strategies first? Medications are useful and necessary in many cases, but evidence-based nutrition is also medicine. And oats, because of their fiber and beta-glucan content, play a very interesting role in this process. When oats are combined with other foods that support blood sugar control, progressive changes can occur. Some patients, over time and always under medical supervision, are able to reduce medication doses. Others continue their treatments, but with something essential: greater well-being. Because this is not just about lowering a number, it is about living better. Science has also shown that diet is one of the most powerful factors for modifying the gut microbiota. Changes in what you eat can begin to influence your intestinal bacteria in as little as 1 day. Over time, these changes become established and are reflected in better glucose levels, less inflammation, and more energy. I have seen people who come in looking to feel better, not just to lower their blood sugar. And when we work on nutrition the right way, both things often happen. Glucose improves, blood pressure stabilizes, and the body responds with fewer aches, fewer digestive issues, and greater vitality. A fiber-rich diet promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria. When fiber is lacking and ultra-processed foods or excesses of certain products dominate, bacteria that promote inflammation increase. Oats, along with legumes, nuts, and other whole foods, provide not only fiber but also good quality protein that helps balance the diet. Everything I am explaining to you is not isolated theory. It is clinical practice, experience with real patients, and scientific support. We move forward step by step so you can understand how to use these foods in a simple and safe way in your daily life, especially if you are at a stage of life where taking care of your health is a priority. If your fasting glucose does not go down, even though you take medication and take care of yourself, here is one of the practical keys to start improving it today. Increase the right kind of fiber at breakfast. That is exactly what we are talking about, how a well-chosen breakfast can help you control diabetes better in a progressive and safe way. I want you to notice something very important. Scientific evidence shows that a fiber-rich diet modifies the gut microbiota and helps regulate glucose in people with type 2 diabetes. When a high-fiber diet is compared with one that does not include fiber, the difference is clear. Fasting glucose begins to decrease steadily when fiber is present. It is not a sudden drop, but it is consistent. When fiber is missing, levels hardly improve. This has been published in serious scientific journals and is information available to many colleagues. That is why I always insist on something very simple and honest. Start applying it yourself and let your doctor know that you are incorporating these changes into your daily diet. Glucose goes down because fiber works slowly and intelligently. There are other foods that can make it drop abruptly, such as apple cider vinegar, but here we are talking about more stable control. Studies show that when foods such as oats prepared in advance and beans that are cooked, refrigerated, and then reheated are consumed, short-chain fatty acids are produced. These substances, generated thanks to fiber, improve the diversity of gut bacteria and are associated with a reduction in glycated hemoglobin, the well-known A1C, which is one of the most important indicators in diabetes. In addition, the fiber in oats works as a natural prebiotic. It promotes the growth of beneficial bacteria such as lactobacilli and bifidobacteria, which play a key role in glucose metabolism. Now, something I'm asked very often is what type of oats is best. The answer is clear: rolled oats. This form preserves the bran, beta-glucans, endosperm, and germ. In other words, it keeps the grain's complete structure. When the food industry breaks this grain down to make ultra-processed products, what remains is basically sugar. And sugar, without fiber, raises glucose, overstimulates insulin, and if there is excess, it is stored as fat that eventually affects muscle and liver. That is why something many people experience happens. They tell me, "Doctor, I ate oats and my sugar went through the roof." And yes, that can happen. Not because oats are bad, but because the liver was already loaded with fat after years of poor combinations and excesses. In that context, glucose does not enter the muscle or liver properly. The pancreas responds by producing too much insulin, and hyperinsulinemia appears, worsening blood pressure and glucose. On the other hand, when a person reduces that accumulated fat and uses oats correctly, this problem does not occur. I clearly remember a patient in his early 60s who told me he no longer knew what to eat for breakfast because everything raised his blood sugar. We started working with rolled oats, prepared the night before, combined with real fiber and appropriate portions. Within a few weeks, his glucose records began to stabilize and he told me, "Doctor, for the first time I feel that breakfast is working in my favor." So let's get practical. Oats should be rolled oats. You can soak them overnight in the refrigerator. Combine them with berries, green apple, 1 tablespoon of flaxseed, and as a source of healthy fats, walnuts. If you like, you can use almond milk and sweeten with a small amount of date. Even with oats alone you already get many nutrients, but by adding these ingredients, the metabolic benefit is even greater. Many people ask me what happens then with medications such as metformin or blood pressure drugs. The answer is that the numbers guide us. As metabolism improves, the treating physician can evaluate adjustments. Everything must be done with follow-up, but the foundation will always be lifestyle. If this information is helping you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and share this video with someone you know is also struggling with blood sugar. We upload new content every day, designed to support you step by step. Leave me a comment. I love reading you and knowing how you are applying these changes. And before we close, take a moment with me to thank God for life, for the opportunity to learn, and for having tools today that allow us to take better care of our health. That sincere gratitude is also part of well-being. Here on Dr. Gabriel Mina's channel, we are truly happy to contribute to your health, help you improve habits, and walk with you through this process. Tomorrow we will have a new video with more practical ideas to care for your diabetes in everyday life. We will be here waiting for you, because you matter to us and we want to keep walking with you toward a healthier life.